Welcome to Warcraft Rumble dungeon, guys. This is for the Dire Maul dungeon, and we have the Blackrock week, so we have a General Drakkisath build above me, as you can see. We will go through the build after going through the stages, but we will first go through all of these 3 stages. Already difficult. I will try to use not optimal relics, so we will not be relying on those too much. But I will show how to defeat these stages. And in here, in the first stage, there are a couple of things that are extremely good. One is the Whelpex with the Flame Burst. It can make these minis fight against each other. Another one is the Execute, which you can use in here to make sure these enemies will start fighting amongst themselves as well. So there we go, we cleared those out with these. And now we can just continue taking this tower. We will take this right tower, and if things go right, we might actually take this left tower as well. But that's kind of optional, that's really not that required. We can play our leader in here right now, so that we might be able to survive. I think I will bait the ogre right now, so that our plague farmer does not die. Again, we can use... I'm gonna use the Execute in here, so that all of them will fight against each other. The ogre mates will survive, but that will be fine. We will be able to tank a little bit of the damage. We shouldn't be in too much of a trouble in there. And now we can start pushing towards the boss. And what we want to do is in here, we want to make sure that the enemies will keep on fighting against each other if possible. And a great thing for that purpose will be the Execute spell. So we will have it ready in a couple of moments. I will go mine this gold as well in the meanwhile. So now we can just make sure we execute everything in here, and they will start fighting against each other and against the boss as well. So they will start actually damaging the boss as well a lot. And as you can see, we are almost through this stage right now. He will die to the poison actually, and there we go. First stage done. This is really simple with this deck. Just like you saw, Execute makes them fight against each other. Flame Burst Whelpex makes them fight against each other. And that just makes your life so easy in the first stage. So let's go to the second stage. I have probably said this before, but this is my least favorite, one of my least favorite maps in any dungeon. I hate these Eyes of the Void that keeps on spawning once we play units. But let's see, we will most likely just advance through the left-hand side. I rarely take this right-hand side tower. It's possible if you want some extra defense, but I usually just go from this meeting stone. So let's see what will happen. I hate the Banshee in this map a lot actually, because we have some heavy costing, like, expensive units, and I would hate the Banshee to be able to take those. So we will take care of the Banshee with the Whelpex. There we go. Pretty sure I can send Plague Farmer in here. Yep, they survived. The issue will be that Huntress and the Eye of the Void. That's also a little bit unfortunate. We actually did quite a lot of damage to the tower, so maybe we should actually try and take it. Let's see, we can tank that damage, that shouldn't be an issue. We can take the tower with an Execute spell. There we go, now we have the tower. That means a little bit of extra defense for us. I'm gonna swap this arrow so I can go mine this gold, and hopefully mine this gold as well. They might die. The kobold might die before it reaches there, but that should be just fine. The Banshee in there, that is fine. It will take out our kobold, which is fine. We can live without our kobold. And now I'm gonna use the Quillboar to bait the boss, because the Quillboar does have a resistant trait. Well, we have a lot of resistant traits in here as well. But he can tank the enemy. The boss attacks really, really well. So we can use that to, like, gain time to do some free damage to the boss. And now we are gonna be using Flame Burst X, and that will just finish off the boss. So second stage, super easily done. We did it from the tower and not from the meeting stone, but you can pick either side you want. It really depends a little bit on how the battle begins, like how the enemy plays out, and if you can get the tower or the meeting stone more easily. It's your choice ultimately. But both sides do work. So let's go to the third stage. And in here we also have options on how we want to play this out. You can take both of these mini bosses and get them to help you defeat the boss, but I usually only just take the right hand side one and the tower in the middle, so we can push from the right side and from the tower. Initially we have to survive this assault, and then we want to get this healer mage killed before we finish off the boss. Let's see, I'm gonna play Fire Elemental over here. Probably Quillbow over here. Gonna send our Kobold to mine the gold. And have Blake Farmer heal that one. Our Fire Elemental got kinda destroyed, but that should be fine for now. I'm gonna send our leader in the middle to take out that tower. I'm gonna help that with the Flame Burst eggs so that we can get rid of the Mountaineer, hopefully. There we go. I'm gonna use another kill bar at this mini-boss so that our Plague Farmer stays alive. I wanna keep our Plague Farmer alive as much as possible. Because of the ranged poison, that's just so effective if you can keep him out of harm's way and just allow him to deal a lot of poison damage. Now we are a little bit behind the schedule in here because I initially, like, you would want to push from the both sides at the same time. So we have to take this tower fast. But now I can start dealing damage to this mini-boss over here, or this Ogre Healer Mates. And a great way to do it, it's a Flame Burst Eggs and also the Execute spell. Again, the Execute spell was really great for the first stage, but it's also extremely valuable for this one as well. Now let's see, we have to defend against this one, so let's use our Fire Elemental over there. One more Execute spell should kill the healer. So after that, we should be able to just start killing the boss itself. There we go. Now the healer is dead. That should be fine. We can tank that damage. That's no problem for us. So now we will just wait to get a little bit more gold, and then we will start pushing towards this boss and try to start to kill him. These will walk to our base, but we will probably be able to win this fight before they get here. So again, Plague Farmer behind something that can tank it. And I'm gonna bait the boss with our Elemental and Quillboar as well. And once we get the Execute spell, I will also use that one to deal great damage to the boss. And maybe this will be our victory over here. Let's see. It could die to the poison. It most likely will die to the poison right now. There we go. Dungeon done. Dungeon completed. So that's how you do it, basically. You can take the both mini-bosses as well if you want to. But I find it much harder to time them so that you can advance with both of them at the same time. And also push from the middle. So it's just so much more convenient to just push with one. And I feel like the mage is better than the melee mini-boss. So that's how I do it. Let's go take a look at the build. And with that, our General Drakkisath is fully golded. That feels great. So in here, I'm running the chromatic scales, which gives us our nearby allies the resistant trait. Our Fire Elemental, for example, has that by default. So it's just a little bit extra boost for the other units. Helps in the second stage especially. And the Banner of Flame is really nice because nearby enemies will take 50% more elemental damage. Now, we have a lot of elemental damage in the build. We have the Fire Elemental, we have the Flame Burst Whelpex, and we have the Plague Farmer. So you can boost that damage, and that's a really good combination for this dungeon, for this leader. And in here, I'm running the Earth Elemental with the Obsidian Shard to get some more elementals, because more is always good, right? And it's a great unit for baiting towers, baiting bosses, baiting a lot of enemies. You saw how I used it in the battle. If you do not want to use it, you could run the Fire Elemental in this spot and use someone else in here. But I find this really easy and simple deck to use with the Earth Elemental in it. There's a lot of unbound units. Half of the units are unbound in this deck. And here, Whelpex with Flame Burst. Oh, such a great unit. Such a great cheap unit with extreme damage potential. Especially for this dungeon, especially for this faction. So if you have them, that's great. If you don't have the Flame Burst talent, they are still valuable. Just not as good, but they are still very good to be used, even without the talent. In here, another one. Oh, I love the Plague Farmer, especially with the Splashing Pumpkins. You can outrange towers, and you can even outrange the second boss. If nothing keeps attacking or spawning to kill the Plague Farmer, it can sometimes outrange the boss from the left side, at least from the left side. So that's doable, but usually something will spawn and kill your Plague Farmer. But it's a really great splash area. Poison damage is really great for you, especially for this build. This we have the boost for elemental damage. In here, our tank of the build, you could run some other tank as well. But since he has the resistant trait, he is really valuable in the second stage, because the second stage can be really annoying because of those Eyes of the Void. So that's why I choose the Fire Elemental with the Immolation Aura, which I feel is the best talent for this unit. And in here, the execute spell with the Bloodthirst. Even without talent, you could run this. So valuable in the first stage, you can make any enemies fight against each other, just clear out. The enemy decides to spawn a huge mob of enemies. You just drop execute of them and they will all die for 3 gold. So it can't get better than that. And also really valuable in other stages. You can use it to kill the ogre healer mates in the third stage. You can use it to deal extra damage to the bosses in any stage. So really good spell for this dungeon and for this deck. And finally, Quillbow with Tunnel Vision. You could also, if you have the Bristleback, you could also run that. But I don't think it's in this particular dungeon. It's probably not that beneficial, but both will work if you have either of these. Even if you have the Bramble Burst, that will still work. Like, any of these talents will literally work for Quillbow. He's great to be used in the same way as Earth Elemental for baiting towers, baiting bosses, baiting enemies, dealing some extra damage to enemies. He's really good at tanking the boss in the second stage. He's also resistant, so even without having our leader nearby, he will still get resistant. So he will be able to tank the ogre mages, he will be able to tank the bosses, the Eyes of the Void, and so on. So really valuable, cheap unit for this deck. That's what we are running, that's how it works. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or any variation of the build. I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Laku out.